Super Regional in Eugene. I sent a tweet out a while back that the most underrated coach on campus in the Oregon Athletic Department is Melissa Lombardi. I think that reputation is slowly starting to change, and people are realizing, oh, she's really good. Yeah, she is really good. Dez Patmon, also very good. Walk-off, 3-run dinger, bottom of the 7th, season on the line, 1 out, 1st and 3rd, tied at 7. This was a wild game. Oregon went down 4-0 off the bat. A pop-up that should have been caught wasn't. And I don't know what's going on with Lindsey Grind. I hope she figures it out by next weekend in the Super Regional against Liberty. But the pop-up is dropped, results in a grand slam, and Oregon, and this was on the heels, by the way, of a dominant win by the Ducks earlier in the day. I think it was like 15-5, and it was the most runs Stanford had allowed in a game in a couple of years, and that was with the game. That was with the season on the line. Oregon lost in this tournament to Stanford, who housed them, and Oregon had to go out and win their next 3 games and beat Stanford twice on Saturday or on Sunday, and they did. This was phenomenal. And I tell you what, I was having some Oregon football demon flashbacks to 2012 because here was Stanford coming to Eugene and just thwarting postseason hopes of a national championship caliber team. I was watching it happen, and I was just thinking back to DeAnthony Thomas not throwing a block, Maldonado missing the field goal. Like, it was just all rushing back to me, and then it was all gone. This was a wild game. Bottom of the 6th, Oregon's down 7-6 after stranding 2 in the 5th. They got 1. 1st and 2nd, though, ground into a double play, which in softball is a pretty rare thing to come across. And so that was taking the air out of the stadium a little, but Jane Sanders Stadium was rocking. It was rocking. Shout out to everybody that was there. Get there next weekend for the Super Regional because I'll tell you about their opponent in just a moment. You're not going to believe it. You're probably going to like it, though. So Oregon goes out and gets a leadoff triple in the bottom of the 6th. Next 2 batters strike out. And then a swinging bunt results in the run coming home. There was an obstruction play at the plate correctly called by the umpire. That was in the 5th inning that scored a run. She would have been out, but the path was blocked. It was a correct call, but a gutsy one to make in that situation. But this was a crazy game. And it looked like Oregon was about to have another postseason letdown. I said going into this regional tournament that, Oregon's hosting for, I think it was the first time since 2018. And with the season that this team just had, it would have been a major letdown to not get out of the regional tournament. And boy, they came close. They got destroyed by Stanford. They go out and they handle Weber State out of the Big Sky. And then they have to beat Stanford twice in the same day, and they just found a way to do it. It was awesome. The football team was there, came running out onto the field to congratulate them and celebrate with them. It was great. So now Oregon gets some time to ponder how they're going to handle Liberty. I'm trying not to be overconfident. I don't want to be that guy. It's just Oregon's last 2 encounters with the Flames in postseason settings. Football won 45-6, I think was the score. And the basketball game was over by the 8-minute mark in the first half. Maybe even sooner. So Fiesta Bowl, round of 64, no prop. Super Regional, trip to Oklahoma City on the line. Liberty, though, potentially, we'll see how it goes next week. The best of 3. Pretty sure it's best of 3. Did Oregon a bit of a solid here. They knocked off number 1 Texas A&M. It's the first time a number one seed has lost in a regional ever. Ever. It's the first time that has happened since they started seeding in college softball. And so this was such a phenomenal game. And the atmosphere was really good. And my heart was racing. I was on the edge of my seat. And I'm thinking, oh no, Stanford really... And they found a way. And Dez Patmon, the bat flip, stare down, are you not entertained sort of vibe. Dan Lanning had to be smiling, thinking, I bet she watches Ducks versus them. She wasn't doing the thumbs down, but she just was running to first as she watched the ball fly away for a 10-7 win on her home field and just kind of had her hands out going to first like, oh yeah, I just did that. It was awesome. It was phenomenally awesome. So they deserve more than a shout out here on the show. And so they get more than a shout out here on the show. And I'm just Liberty just pulled the upset and showed they could beat number one Texas A&M. Better not take them lightly. Was that kind of their Super Bowl? Emotional letdown? Feels like it could be there. Oregon at home is a dangerous team. I like the Ducks' chances. And, I mean, it's Liberty. I don't want this to become a segment of, man, remember when you were that good? Let's go back to the time where you're feeling that confident there. This team got a chance. Team has got a great chance. So hosting a super regional, get to Eugene next weekend. Something I also wanted to mention before I get out of here for today that I did not mention last week because I wasn't able to squeeze it into a show. Oregon basketball has moved on from Miles Goodman because of charges that were filed against him by Penn State, where he was transferring from. This once again, and I think Oregon made the right move given the accusations that came out and the apparent credibility of those. You can look them up if you like. I don't care to discuss them here on the show, but the state of Oregon's front court is, I don't know if you ever watched the World Series of Poker on ESPN randomly as a kid or if you still do, but all the chips, when the guy pushes all the chips in the middle of the table, that's where Oregon's at with Nate Biddle. Now, Goodman would have been the fourth big this year. He wouldn't have been a major player. I think he would have seen the court. And then next year, he would have been a guy that plays more. How much? TBD. He was definitely more of a long-term investment. Like, he was a Dante Moore of sorts, or maybe like a Nico Reed. Nico Reed transferred to Oregon from Colorado, and he was on the 2 deep, but not a starter in 2023. And this past year, he's one of Oregon's best corners. That could have been the Miles Goodman playing time trajectory. And, he's in the 6'10", 6'11" range, athletic big, but Oregon's front court right now consists of Sean Stewart, the Ohio State transfer, and KJ Evans back for year 3. We have not heard. I would love to hear this week from Nate Biddle. It could drag out into the middle of June as he explores the NBA draft process. That is his right. But if Nate Biddle does not come back, I think he is. I'm not 100% confident until I see it happen. But this just further solidifies, like, he's got to come back, or that could be problematic. So, Nate, if you're listening to or watching this, you should definitely come back and get Oregon back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2021. Just like where Oregon softball is for the first time since 2023. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.